afternoon, everybody, and a hot afternoon to you. Fortunately, the air is working right here at Sharp Facets Gallery. And sitting across from me today is Kathy Nave Felder. She is the Festival of Flowers go-to person. How you doing today, Kathy?
I'm doing great.
Oh, good. And how's your day been so far?
A little crazy. We're coming up on the main weekend in about 10 days, so we got a lot of irons in the fire.
That's right. And I understand that you're driving around with a dummy in the seat with you.
Yes, I am.
And people have been looking. You haven't caused any wrecks, have you?
I hope not.
Yes, I understand that actually tomorrow is the Flower Power Ladies Luncheon, and you needed a mannequin, not a dummy, a mannequin for out there, right?
That is correct.
So how's the luncheon going to be this year? I understand you're having mimosas and all kinds of libations here.
Yes, we are. At 10:45, the reception begins. At noon, the lunch begins, and we're going to have over 350 ladies there.
Wow, that's a big event.
That's a huge event.
Well, that's great. And then you're going to have Sherry Thrift Bradshaw is going to be there. I interviewed her, yesterday, I think. We had a great conversation. She's going to be a great interview, and I think really inspirational for every woman who is there.
That's what we're counting on. She comes with such wonderful credentials, and everybody just thinks the world of her.
Now, the only thing I think you might need a box for her to stand on, though, if she's talking behind a podium. I understand she's just 5'2".
Well, I'm only 5'1", and I don't need a box.
Okay, all right. Well, I thought you might give her a little towering height there.
It's my understanding that she likes to ramble.
She likes to ramble?
She likes to ramble and see the audience, so I don't know that we want her going up and down a box.
Oh, okay. All right. So she's going to be moving around. Well, we had a great conversation with you. In fact, we have that posted on WCRS1450am.net. So if you get the opportunity to listen to it, if you're going to the luncheon, you might want to come back afterwards and take that 10 or 15 minutes and just hear what she had to say. It was great. In fact, we're going to have her come back end of July, August, and sit down in studio with us and have a real in-studio conversation.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, so it's always good to make new connections.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. So now, the last time I talked to you, you were excited and a little worried because this was all in your lap and you were going to have to take this all over. How's it been going?
Well, I'm still excited. I'm still a little worried, but I do know a whole lot more than I did 60 days ago.
Wow. Well, that's a pretty fast learning curve, Kathy.
Sort of a roller coaster ride.
A roller coaster ride. Well, the schedule sure looks great, and the topiaries are fantastic.
Aren't they wonderful?
Yes, they are. And we had Ann on talking about them with her one arm in a cast there, so that was always fun to talk to Ann Barklow. In fact, the day we talked to her, I think the mermaid had a breast reduction.
Yes.
But I understand she's filling out just nicely now.
I think she looks very nice.
Yes, very curvy. So, what events that are coming up that you would like to highlight? I know that there's some events that are of course, this Thursday we've got the Flower Power, and then Friday and Saturday we've got tennis tournaments, and Shrek starts Thursday. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, or Friday. Actually, I guess Shrek starts Friday. Have you seen Shrek?
I have not seen Shrek. I have talked to Stephen, and he says it's going to be fantabulous.
Yeah, they had a nice write-up in the Index Journal today, so everybody needs to get their tickets for that.
And the makeup's going to be really interesting.
Yes, and that, of course, is what makes it all as far as that. But then I heard the characterizations and everything is just perfect on it, so we really hope everybody will get out and go see Shrek, the musical. But you've got the Flower Power. Now, anything else you want to talk about there? If anybody still wants to go, can they still get tickets?
To the ladies' luncheon?
Mm-hmm.
No, we are full.
You're full?
We're at capacity.
Wow, okay. Good job.
Yeah. I have to give a lot of credit to the Women's Leadership Conference because that committee is the one who pulled it all together.
Wow, that's terrific. Well, you've got the Bearcat Topiary Fan Day on Thursday the 25th.
Yes, we do. As we all know, Lander has a new president, so they're really excited to be celebrating fan day on that Thursday night. They are bringing in a band called Jazz 42, who is comprised of 5 Lander graduates. And
Wow.
I've heard their music, and they're really dynamic, so I'm looking forward to hearing them in person. I've just heard them, via recordings.
Now, that's going to be from 5:30 to 8 on Thursday, the 25th.
Yes,
Okay, and I guess that'll be up there by the Bearcat?
it will be. It will be uptown in the County Bank Plaza where the Bearcat stands tall.
Yes, he does, and he's looking pretty fantastic.
I think they're all looking fantastic. I don't think you realize how big they are until you try to take a picture of them with somebody standing next to it. You're like, okay.
How do you get the picture of the person and the animal or whatever in there?
It's a challenge.
It is. So what's been your biggest challenge?
Probably just multitasking. When you've got 25 events in the month that require at least some communication efforts and coordination efforts, it's just a lot of hats to wear and a lot of balls to juggle and keep them in the air without letting them all fall on the floor and go splat.
Now, what about volunteers? Because I know that's a big part of what you put together here. What about the volunteer part?
Well, first of all, I will say without our wonderful volunteers, there would not be a festival, because it is truly a volunteer-based event. We have a number of volunteers that are working. We're always looking for more volunteers, particularly for our arts and crafts show this year. So anyone that's still interested in volunteering can certainly contact me at the chamber or email through the website. We'd love to have anybody that's interested.
Now, what's the number to call?
The number at the chamber is area code 864-223-8431, and my extension is 223.
223. Okay, so if you'd like to volunteer. Now, what if you just have a real limited schedule but you'd like to do something? Can they still work something out?
Pretty much. I mean, most of the events run for instance, the arts and craft runs from 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 p.m. on both Friday and Saturday. Thursday afternoon, we'll need help moving the crafters in, and then potentially some help Saturday, moving them out. So if you just have an hour or 2 hours, we can still put you to work.
Okay. And, it really is fun to see people that come from all over to come to this festival. You're going to see a lot of people that you may know, but you're going to see a lot of people that you don't know that are just coming because of the festival, particularly for that last weekend.
And I have to say the age range is very wide. I received an email from a group that wanted to volunteer who is a Brownie Scout troop, ages 5 to 13.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, I'm not sure that how much a 5-year-old could do, but we'll be happy to have them. And then we have ladies in their 80s that help us, so we really cover the whole range.
Now, as far as the Arts and Crafts Show, that is Friday and Saturday. That's the main weekend, June 26th and 27th, as you said, 10 to 6 at the James Medford Family Event Center out there at Piedmont Tech. Free admission.
That is correct.
Free admission. And tell us about, do you know maybe what some of the exhibits, how could you tantalize us to get out there to the Arts and Crafts?
How many hours do we have, Ann?
We have one.
Oh, okay.
So be careful what you pick up.
I'm very excited about the quality and the variety of crafters we have this year. I talked with one gentleman a couple of days ago. He'd sent all of his paperwork in, but he came in to meet me. And he's retired, and he does beautiful woodworking. He makes Adirondack chairs, carves the bowls, just does some beautiful things, and had never ever thought to sell them. And his wife said, I think you should try to sell them. So he has now been in 2 or 3 festivals or arts and craft shows and found that it's fabulous. Everybody loves his work, so he's dynamic. We're going to have a gentleman that it's kind of hard to explain until you see it. He uses spray paint to make art, and
Okay.
it's breathtaking. We have
They usually call that, what do they call that?
They used to call it graffiti, but he actually turns it into a work of art. It's
Okay.
amazing. We have a number of jewelers. We have the gentleman, I don't know what the correct term is, you don't grow honey, but he brings his honey from his bees.
Right.
So he raises bees. We have a lovely
Beekeeper?
A beekeeper. We have several potters that will be there, and the quality of the pottery is just, I think it's breathtaking. We have one vendor who uses clay to make flower arrangements. They're gorgeous.
Wow.
So it's going to be a variety. We have people that have sewing crafts, just a wide variety of different types of things.
Are you having people come from out of town to be
Oh, yes.
exhibitors at the show?
Oh, yes, I've seen more unusual area codes in the last month than I have in a long time.
Well, that should make it
It
interesting.
doesn't, I'm
isn't it?
like, well, I don't recognize this area code because it's not from around here, so
Yeah.
they're coming all from around the southeast.
Well, that will be good because, when you go to a craft show, you like to find that unique and different stuff.
I totally agree with you. It's the more variety you have, the more chances you are to have something for everybody.
Sure. And let's see, being out at the James Medford Center, you have a lot of space.
We do have a lot of space.
So we've got a good variety and lots of crafters.
We've got a fair amount. We could always use more.
Okay.
We can make room because it is a big build. We didn't push as early this year because the Medford Center was to undergo some major construction starting April the 1st.
Right.
So we weren't sure how much of an impact that would have on the facility. Well, as it was worked out, they have not started construction yet. So we do have access to more space than we initially thought we would. We weren't sure how much of the parking would be impacted, and at this point, none of it's impacted.
Wow. So if somebody's listening and still would like to get in, they could give you a call?
Yes, absolutely. Go online or send me an email. If they want to send me an email, it's very simple. It's Kathy, Kathy, but it's a long one. Kathy at greenwoodscchamber.org. And if you leave out the SC, it goes to Greenwood, Indiana. So we found that out the hard way.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. There's some ideas. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the Topiary and Tasting Wine Walk. We've got the Bee Buzz and Bike Tour. We got the 5K run. I tell you what, we got so much going on here. I don't know if we'll get through it all, but we're going to try. Hey, I'm here with Kathy Nave Felder, and we'll be right back. Don't you go away. Here with Kathy Nave Felder. She is the go-to person on the Festival of Flowers. Kathy, what are you doing after the festival?
Probably sleeping for a couple of weeks.
I can imagine. You are on overload right now. But you and I were just talking, because I just noticed this on the list, the Monarch Larva Monitoring Project. That's going to be going on Saturday, June 27th from 1 to 4 out there at the Fellowship Camp and Conference Center out there in Waterloo. What is that all about?
Well, it's interesting because I had no idea that the monarch butterfly is an endangered species. And when I asked some questions about it, they said, well, basically there are 3 different paths that they use to migrate from north to south, and the one that's in the middle of the country in the Midwest has been decimated because of the farmers taking all the natural, plant life out. So that whereas you and I, when we were growing up, we saw monarchs everywhere.
They were beautiful, yeah.
A lot of children today have never seen one except in pictures. So it's through the University of Minnesota, and they actually have a training session on what types of plants to grow that would encourage them to come, and then to make them lay their eggs, and you count the eggs and you count sightings, and it's very scientific. I don't really have all the details, but it's
Are we along on their trail to come south?
We are.
Mhm.
We are. And so I think that's one of the reasons they are doing that here, is to encourage people to plant some of the things that will encourage them to come here and, reproduce. So we have more.
Right. You can see sometimes you can go to some of the planting places, and you'll see for butterflies or for hummingbirds or all this type of stuff, and you can literally get the type of flowers that attract that type of animal or bug that you want.
That is absolutely correct. And, you think of endangered, you think of tigers and elephants, but who would have thought that a butterfly would be on that list?
That's actually like the honeybees.
That's true.
We are in danger of losing our honeybees. We seem to have enough, but if things continue, they could be something that would be very detrimental.
Can you imagine the world without honey?
Yeah. Just from the pollination aspect of it, what could it mean for plants? It's a really something that can snowball.
It certainly can.
Wow. Okay, but we have other events, but I just wanted to talk about that one because that's really neat. Now, it says free, but space is limited on the Monarch Larva Monitoring Project, which is Saturday, June 27th from 1 to 4. How do you have to sign up, or what do you have to do?
It's my understanding that you go to the website for fellowship camp in
Okay.
Conference Center.
Okay, and so you just put
Or
in,
you can call them. I'm sure they would be able to handle it over the telephone.
but they have to say till they get to capacity, whatever capacity is.
And I have no idea what that number is.
And you're glad you have no idea.
You're exactly right.
How did I know that, Kathy? One piece of information she doesn't need to have. All right, so we've got that going on the 27th. Now, we've got this weekend here, which is Father's Day weekend, and there are some events going on: Shrek Musical, the tennis tournament, and they are having an artist reception Saturday, June 20th at the Arts Center. And then we've got the Belk's Blooming Good Time next week, but the artist reception for the arts part of this. That's a good thing too.
It is. They have a juried art show, and the reception this weekend is when they present the winners with their awards. So I'm sure there are going to be some very excited people there.
That's right. So, and that's at the Federal Building, and that's open. I mean, you can go in anytime.
Yes, it's open during the week if you want to just go in and see the artwork. And of course, I've had the opportunity to be over there, and it's always amazing to me the scope and the differences. It's not like they're all canvas pictures of one thing. There's statues, and there's ceramics and art. It's just all really amazing. I would not want to be the one to have to judge it.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because it's hard to judge a ceramic against a canvas, and how do you make the decision on which is the best?
That's another thing that I don't want to know anything about. I'm just
Okay.
going to enjoy the beauty.
Okay, all right, but the artist reception is Saturday, June 20th from 5 until 7, and again, that's another free event. You know, one of the things that you can say is there certainly is a lot for everybody to do, and you can do it very economically. In fact, a lot of these events, there's absolutely no charge.
That's right. So if you can't find an event that, tickles your fancy, I don't know that you've looked at all the events.
Yes, and of course, all around Greenwood, you can find one of these great Lakelands Festival events. Boy, I tell you what a great magazine, huh?
It's fabulous. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, so lots of information in there. Pick yourself up one anywhere. Don't miss the ad for WCRS and Sharp Facets. No plug intended, but I just thought I'd mention it. And we are here having a good time talking with Kathy Nave Felder. So, Kathy, the big weekend is next weekend.
That is correct. Not this weekend, but the weekend after.
That's right.
About 10 days.
About 10 days. And it kind of kicks off with, well, you've got the youth artist reception on Thursday.
And that's a first-time event. They've never had the youth have their own art show. So this is segregated by elementary students, and then middle school students, and high school students. And there's a cash award for each of the categories.
Wow.
So,
and I guess that's already on display? Is it? Or do you know?
I honestly don't know which one. I've seen the art, but I don't know which one's youth and which one's adults.
Okay. I would just expect that they might have it already on display. But from 5 to 7 on Thursday, they are going to have an youth artist reception. Then you get into Friday, and of course on Friday, we'll have to talk about this when we come back after the news. There is so much going on. We've mentioned the Arts and Crafts Show, which is Friday and Saturday. That's the 26th and 27th. Topiaries and Tasting Wine Walk, that is Friday. They've got, they also have a night of music from Meg's House on Friday the 26th. Benjamin Mays, the Railroad Historic, the golf tournament, the Bee Buzzin' Bike Tour, the 5K run. I tell you what, it just goes on and on and on. And then, of course, we're going to have the Aviation Expo that Saturday, and finish it all up with the Bluegrass Concert. Wow. That's not all of it either. Hey, let's hear South Carolina Radio News, and we'll be right back.
Arg, are you a pirate or a pack rat? Do you have a vacation of a lifetime sitting in the attic? Or a college tuition hung on a wall? Or is a fabulous retirement hidden in your jewelry box? Bring those items to Sharp Facets Gallery. We can establish value and buy from you or sell for you. And so ends another chapter at Sharp Facets Gallery, 72 Bypass, and on the web, sharpfacets.com.
that's right. Right back here, 4:36 in the afternoon. Let's just see how hot it is out there this afternoon. Quick check of the weather here before we get back to talking with Kathy. It is 96 degrees, 96 degrees. They say it feels like 101, Kathy.
I think it's 191.
You know, don't you just feel for the topiaries?
Yes, I do.
I mean,
really do.
You know, I had Ann on, and we were talking about how, of course, they're all internally watered and everything, but how difficult it is, even in perfect conditions, to keep the watering perfect, because you got some areas where the water is going to pool, and then some areas that dry out quite quickly.
Well, for instance, the flamingo, which is one of the smaller ones, but has a very slim neck,
Right.
is watered 8 times a day through a watering system.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it just dries out, and if it dries out, then it starts dying.
sure. And then the flowers start wilting, and it doesn't look like a pink flamingo.
No, it looks like I'm not sure what it would look like.
There you go. So really a lot of challenges, and the more they are out, and of course the topiaries are going to stay out for the Festival of Discovery and Blues Cruise, which is after the 4th of July.
That's
So
correct.
they've still got quite a bit of time to be perky and looking good.
Well, and I will add this. We would so appreciate if people decide they don't need to ride them, because every time they climb up on one and slide back down, it destroys so much of the beauty.
We're still
And
having that?
We've already had one incident where someone tried to ride the dog and then took a selfie and
Oh, no.
posted it. It's like, okay.
Well, that was an easy way to find that person.
Like,
Don't do those things, people.
Yes.
And of course, they have cameras out there, so they
Yes.
are going to be seeing this. But they have in the past. I remember the elephant getting pretty badly damaged
Yes.
one year.
yes.
And of course, that takes away the beauty for everybody else. And that's such a shame. And they work so hard to make sure they look great. Now, talking about the topiaries, you were telling me about this number that you can text the number and it'll tell you about it. I saw that, but I didn't really know what it was.
Well, we partnered with the Index Journal, and what we have done is the detailed information on the particular topiary, the size, who created it, who sponsors it, what plants make up the whatever the design is all that detailed information is now available on your smartphone. So you text to the number 55678, and then you type in the keyword that identifies that specific topiary, and you get the information. So we think this is a kind of a new way to get the information into people's hands as they're looking at it. If they're wondering what that red plant is, or if they're wondering how tall is the tiger,
Right.
they've got that information right there at their fingertips.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It's really neat.
Yeah, all right.
And we're hoping to do that with the wines for the wine walk also. We just haven't, we just
You
got the
really
wines
think
selected.
people are going to text in the number?
Maybe not during the event, but,
Okay.
but if they want, they say, "Ooh, I really enjoyed that particular wine," then they can go and say, find out which one it is,
Okay.
and go purchase it.
Okay, all right, because I was going to say, yes, all right. It's going to be probably hot on the wine walk there, and you're going to be drinking wine here, right? Yeah. But that's pretty neat. It is amazing. The only thing that is bad is for those that have dumb phones and not those smartphones. How do you get that information, folks?
Well, we will actually have a map with the information in it also for those of us who still like to have something tangible in our hand other than our phone.
Yeah.
So it will still be available.
Okay, all right. Well, that sounds great. Now, we've got we've talked about the arts and crafts that's going on Friday and Saturday, not this Friday and Saturday, but next Friday and Saturday. You've got the Topiaries and Tasting Wine Walk. That is on Friday, June 26th from 5:30 to 8:30. Costs $25 in advance, $30 of the day. Tickets available at the Chamber and at Flynn's. What can you tell us? Have you tasted any of the wines, Kathy?
I have not yet.
Yet. We've got a whole week, though.
Yes, not yet.
Okay.
But Debbie Flynn has selected them, and she has selected them for us in the past, and she does a very, very good job for us.
And what do you get for your $25 for those maybe that haven't been on a wine walk? How does this work?
You go to, there are actual 12 different locations And each one you sampled 1 ounce of that particular wine that's at that place. And then each place has food, and so they try to design their food around the type of wine. So if they have a sweet bread, maybe they have something that's chocolate, or however they want to do it. So it gives you a chance to taste different ones and see which ones you like and which ones you don't. We have 2 little wineries that, of course, make their own wine that will also be participating. So
Is that from Greenwood? Or are they from outside the area?
they're not from Greenwood, I don't believe, but they're semi-local.
Semi-local, okay.
I have co-chairs for that committee, Patricia Finley and Kathy Maffett, and they've done it the last couple of years. And she makes the contacts, but they do an outstanding job. Again, talking about volunteers, we have about 62 volunteers that help make the wine walk, successful. So without those folks, it would not happen.
Wow. Now, this, on the wine walk, you'll actually be going into different businesses in
Yes.
Uptown Greenwood
That is
and
correct.
looking at the topiaries at the same time.
That is correct.
So that'll be a fun event. As I said, that is Friday, June 26, 5:30 to 8:30. $25 in advance, but if you want to get your tickets the day of, it's $30. Now, you will be walking from one place to the other. You get a fancy glass.
Yes, this year we're having stemless wine glasses, and we're very excited about it. It's a little something different that we're doing. And you get a wristband that you wear that makes sure that we know that you're one of them when you pick up your glasses. And the one thing we do always request is that you drink your samples inside of the building, because it is against the law in the city of Greenwood to walk around with an open container.
Except during the Festival of Discovery.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just thought I'd mention that because that just got passed, right?
It did just get passed,
Yeah.
but it didn't get passed for us. So.
Okay.
So
well,
we will still be, I will be one of the people wandering around going, please finish that before you go out on the street.
but you're going to have 12 different locations
Yes.
and 12 1-ounce servings.
Actually,
Potential.
13 1-ounce servings.
13
Yes.
1-ounce servings. Okay, be careful out there, folks. Have a good time, but be careful, and you better have a designated driver when you have one
You
of
might
these.
need a designated walker.
A designated walker. Yeah. For all of you that have walkers, it might be a good thing. All right. Hey, I tell you what, let's hear a quick word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Don't you go away. It wouldn't be the Festival of Flowers without a garden tours, and this year they are going to have some fantastic garden tours going on. What can you tell us about the garden tours here, Kathy?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is we've got a lot of hard-working, dedicated people who love flowers. This year we have 2 home gardens, the Ellenbergs and the Lennings. Now, Lennings have been on the tour in the past, so some people will have already seen what they can do. The Ellenbergs are new to the tour this year, and they have a beautiful landscape, a lot of different things to see. The other gardens, the city garden is, of course, quite impressive with their new rose garden. We have the Veterans Affairs Healing and Patio Garden, and then we also have the Rice Elementary Roots and Shoots, which they've had their garden at the elementary school for 15 years.
How about that?
Yeah, 15 years, and they allowed different classes to build their, what they call, I think, squares, where they build up and plant different things, and they've just done an amazing thing. It's very whimsical to see what they've done.
Wow, that's cool. Now, of course, the Ellenberg Home Garden is at 117 Friendfield Lane. The Lenning Home Garden is at 405 Orchard Drive. And then, of course, the Rice Elementary Roots and Shoots Garden is on their property. Like you said, the City Garden is looking fabulous. I drive by it most every day, and it's just, it used to be called the Men's Garden,
Yes,
didn't
it did.
Yes,
It
and
did.
a group of men gardeners kept it up, but now the Greenwood City does it, and that looks awesome. And
It actually has about 5 or 6 different garden clubs that each has a little spot, and then 6 or 7 families, just the families that keep it up. So
Wow,
it's
I didn't
all,
know that.
It's all divided up into little segments, so you can look and see who's done what in their little patch.
you know, it takes a lot. You need to say a big kudos to the particularly shall we say the Lennings and to the Ellenbergs for doing this, because that's a lot of work to put your own literally backyard, your gardens on display.
Not only is it a lot of work, there's a lot of expense that goes into it, and these folks are doing it because they love it, and they're sharing it with us at no cost because they want to share what they've built.
That's right. And when you have heat like this,
it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. So when you go out there and see their gardens, make sure you tell them, thank you for doing this.
I totally agree, because without their willingness, we wouldn't have tours of the gardens.
Sure. And if you go around on the backside of, quote, the old library, the Veterans Center there, that really is, have you been there? It's very peaceful.
It is
very peaceful. Yes. And they got a grant to do that.
Yes, they did.
And it's quite lovely. So I know that's going to be nice there. So get out there and see the gardens. We don't have Park C, but we do have some beautiful gardens to look at.
And we have been very gifted. The Lakelands Master Gardeners have completely redesigned the front of the chamber, and we're now as pretty as anything you can see.
Well, let's see. That's something
Lovely.
we didn't know.
No, you wouldn't, but I asked them if they would consider, and they graciously did, and they took us from drab to spectacular. It is really, really lovely.
From drab to fab.
Yeah.
There you
There
go.
you go. Good one, yes.
All right, well, that sounds great. Well, the Festival of Flowers is going to be in full swing next weekend. You got to put plans together. And, you know, I always say, whether it's the Festival of Discovery or the Blues Cruise or the Festival of Flowers, what a great opportunity to get family and friends to come. You don't have to worry about keeping them at home and entertaining. You know, you get them out, you keep them gone all day long, and then you say, see ya, had a great time with you today. But it is a great opportunity to show off Greenwood.
It is a great opportunity, and I have been amazed. The topiaries came out a little early this year. They came out a few days before June, and I was absolutely amazed at the number of people that were already walking around the first week of June, just looking at them and going, wow, look at this. And as I've said to several folks, I said, you know, if you think you've seen them because you saw them last year or you saw them the year before,
No.
you ain't seen nothing yet. They have been a lot of them have been completely redesigned. The intricacy of the details this year is astonishing.
That's right. And of course, they do have to tear, you know, they don't tear, I guess, everyone down, but they have to tear some of them down and start completely over.
That is correct. Every 6 or 7 years, they have to be taken back basically to the metal frame. And several of the large ones were this year. One of them is the Gamecock. And just to give you an idea of the manpower, the Gamecock has over 8,000 plant plugs. If you were to count the plants for all the topiaries, you're in excess of 200,000 plants.
Wow.
That's a lot of man hours.
That's a lot of plugging.
That's a lot of plugging. And without the master gardeners and the other volunteers, and of course, obviously, Ann Barclow and Billy Allen and their staff, it would not be possible.
And you know what's going to be fantastic about this? I just got to say, after this is all over, whether it's the Wine Walk or the Bluegrass Festival Saturday night, after this is all over, it won't be a few hours and you will never know that this event went on because it'll be all cleaned up.
That is true.
And I mean, I'm always very impressed with what Public Works does to clean it up and make it look fabulous.
The city does an outstanding job. Everybody knows what is expected and they do it. And you know, the thing that I've seen is they do it in such a positive manner. It's not like, oh, I've got to go do this again. They're really excited and proud of what they accomplish, and they should be.
Absolutely, and that's why I wanted to say that, because, you know, the Bluegrass concert will be Saturday night, and it's featuring a very, very spectacular bluegrass group, a seldom seen, and that'll be from 7 to 10:30. Now, that is going to be uptown at the County Bank Plaza. It's not going to be on Oregon. It's actually going to be at the County Bank Plaza. It's a free event, and
Yes.
it is going to be awesome. So,
And our own Trey Ward band, who's local, will be there the introductory act.
Yes. So Trey does a great job, and it is excellent that we've been able to get this talent in here. So that's going to be kind of an ending to the whole affair, isn't it?
Yes, and I think it will be a spectacular ending.
So You got to make plans for next weekend. Now, this weekend, celebrate Father's Day. Have a great time doing that, right? But then make plans for next weekend.
And they have 89 junior tennis players in the tennis tournaments at the Greenwood Country Club this weekend.
Oh, wow.
So that should be, it's gotten so big that they're actually using 3 locations, the Country Club, Gatewood, and the Jeff May, the Lander facility. So
Wow.
it's huge.
They're going to have a lot of that going on. Now, next week when you talk about sporting events, you've got the Bee Buzzin' Bike Tour. That's Saturday, June 27th. Registration opens at 6:30. The race is at 8 a.m. That is Greenwood Uptown at the Fountain. And
Actually, it's starting at the Chamber this year.
oh, okay. Well, I was reading from my event. Okay.
You're right. That's what we thought initially, and then we actually got into it. It's at the Chamber.
That'll be
And
good.
I will say this, because I knew nothing about bike tours. It's not a race. They all start at one time, but when you're biking 62.5 miles,
Right.
I was like, really? 62.5
This
miles?
isn't something if you haven't ridden that you want to get out and do now.
There's actually 2. There's a 25-mile route, and then there's the 62.5 mile. But that's just a little intimidating to me. I know these folks are in the shape to do it, but
Right.
I'm thinking the heat and that long a ride, but they love it.
8:30 in the morning though, so actually registrations opens at 6:30. The race begins at 8 o'clock, so
That's correct.
6:30 in the morning. And
Hopefully it'll be a little cooler that way.
yes, registration on the Eventbrite website, $30 if received by the 24th, $40 after the 24th. So check-in is at 6:30 a.m. to 7:45 at the Greenwood Chamber, includes a rest stop. And can I ask what SAG support is?
It's so if someone has a problem with a tire or a wire or
a
something,
leg.
or some things that I don't really understand about these very sophisticated bikes goes awry, it can be repaired so they don't have to stop the race or the tour, not a
Okay,
race. The
okay,
tour.
okay. So it doesn't have to do with sagging humans.
No.
That's what I
that-
was thinking about,
Yeah,
Kathy.
after 62 miles, I would definitely be sagging a lot of places.
Absolutely. So let's see, Emerald City Bike Shop and the Greenwood Motorcycle Club is going to be helping with that, I understand.
That is accurate, yes.
Yes, wow. Okay, so you've got that going on. Then also Saturday morning, June 27th, you've got the 5K run and the 1 mile walk/run. Registration opens at 6:30. Run starts at 8:30 at the Jeff May Sports Complex. So that'll be another good event.
It will be, and the 1 mile fun run is really designed more for those young children that want to participate but may not have the stamina yet for a 5K.
That's right. You going to be participating in any of these events, Kathy?
I will be running from one to another.
Okay.
Does that count?
Sure, that counts. You're going to have your running shoes on then,
Yeah,
yes?
I definitely will.
Yeah, that's right. So, one of the things we do need to say, though, with the heat like this, if people are going to be out, they do need to make sure they're carrying water, keep well hydrated. You don't want anybody passing out or getting sunstroke, or et cetera.
Right, and of course, all of the events that we have, we will make sure that we have water available. That's one of the things that is a priority. In this kind of heat, you have got to be able to hydrate.
That's right. And we haven't talked about the Kid Fest, and we got a couple of minutes. Kid Fest, Saturday, June 27th, 9 to noon at the museum. What's going on at this? You were telling me earlier you were really excited about this one.
It is going to be so exciting. We are going to have an inflatable slide. We're going to have train rides, face painting, arts and craft. Jack Roper will be there doing his magic. We will have a gentleman that makes balloon animals. The Paul's Rescue People will be there. The museum is actually they have a new exhibit called Electricity, which I believe has 16 interactive parts of it. And then they also will be doing something called a shark tooth dig. So that sounds exciting.
Right.
I think there'll be a lot of activities, so
Big slide. Big
slide. So
yep.
whether you're a kid or a kid at heart, I think there's plenty to be going on there to see. There'll be some giveaways, and the Index Journal, I believe, is providing gift bags to the first however many people that they have gift bags for. So come early to make sure you get your gift bags.
That's right, and that's going on 9 to noon. So next weekend is the really, really, really big weekend, but lots of stuff going on, and it's a great opportunity to get up there and get some great pictures with the topiaries, to maybe do Christmas cards, or just have
That's a
some
great
fun.
idea. I
Yeah,
hadn't thought of that.
yeah, do some of that kind of stuff. But Kathy Nave Felder, I think you are an awesome person to have taken this on and coming down to the wire, and it looks like it's going to be a big success.
Well, we're hoping so. That there have been a whole lot of people that have been instrumental in helping me and guide me, and without the chamber staff and all the volunteers, it would not be possible.
Well, it has come together, and that's what's great about Greenwood, is that people do come together to make something great. Hey, you are listening to WCRS right here in Greenwood. Kathy, thanks so much for taking an hour out. I hope in this cool environment with a little water you've relaxed a little.
I have. Thank you so much for having me, Ann.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Bye-bye, everybody.